Guys, when you talk about FPL now, I think it's not just about football knowledge. If you ask me, I would say there's a bit of juju. Ben, I don't know if you know what juju means. We all know what juju
Of
means,
course,
you
I'm
know.
from Africa. How you can ask me? I don't know what juju means, man.
Because I've seen managers, I've seen pundits that are so good, but when it comes to FPL, they are bottom in their league. And you see people be like, there's nothing to it. And when they join the league, they don't even understand what's happening. So I'm going to ask, what percentage of football knowledge and luck is FPL? What do you think? Is it 50-50? For me, I think it's 90% luck and 10% football knowledge, if you ask me.
I wouldn't say it's 90% luck. I wouldn't say it's 50-50. It's probably somewhere in between because you know this game of football, you can never predict anything. You know, it's so unpredictable. Um, I think there are people out there that have like a massive knowledge of football, and they analyze it. They, go in depth, and they do really well every year, like top, certain percentage of the worldwide league and so on. So if you analyze enough and really like pay mind to it, you can do quite well in fantasy consistently. I mean, I'm a big fan of it, and I think I've been playing it now for over 10 years, and I've always made like the top 25% of my leagues, if not better. And that's because I put a certain amount of analysis into it, and but it is possible. I wouldn't say it's 50-50. I wouldn't say it's 90-10, but I think somewhere in between, depending on your knowledge, for sure. But listen, you can't predict what individual players are going to do, and we can't even predict what a whole team's going to do sometimes. So, it really depends what perspective you're coming from.
For me, it's a combination of luck and skill. And I think luck tips the skill. If you ask me, it's almost up to 70%, if not more, about luck than skill, right? Because sometimes you find people who actually don't actively manage their teams, but they luck out and come up with really good scores. Of course, it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen enough times to actually give legs to the hypothesis that luck actually trumps skill here in terms of what goes into playing the game. That's my personal opinion. I've not played for as long as Ben has. I've played for 6 seasons. The impending season would be my seventh. But I was a casual player for the first 3 seasons. It wasn't until the 2020-21 season that I really started to put a bit more thought behind, playing the game. And that was really down to my football knowledge more than anything else, and my knowledge of the players, their aptitudes, and how good I know they are in their positions. But these days, it's becoming more of a combination of eye test, which really involves watching a lot of the games and combining that with data analytics, which has really exploded. And Ben, I'm sure you can relate to that. In the very early days, data wasn't a thing. Now it is, and you're increasingly getting a larger pool of managers that are becoming more adroit at actually working with data, interpreting it, and using it to inform decisions that they take in FPL.
I think football knowledge is very important. That's like a foundation, really, because you're setting up your team based on the knowledge of how good you think the players are in their individual clubs. So football knowledge is a foundation. But luck plays a very important role. I have never really succeeded in the FPL team, even though I've been playing for a greater part of the year now. And I think that's down to me not being lucky, because I think I have a good knowledge of football, but I don't know why I just don't do very well with the whole FPL team. I think people like Heidi have all the lucks in this world because they seem to always do well. Yeah, so football knowledge, if I'm going to give percentage, I would say 60% football knowledge, 20% organization, and maybe 20% luck.
To my own perspective, I think I don't believe about 100% luck. I don't believe on that. I always believe on. I see this FPL like a course, like you go to school. That's the way I say it. Because if I could remember, this is my second season and I've been doing good. Yeah, I know how to play this game. Thanks to Dan Juma or something. He taught me how to do this, but I know how to play it more than him now. So I believe it's just about you being study. I don't think it's all about like luck. No, because if it's like luck, when you go to school, like you have a 4-year course, you want to tell me 4-year course in the school, like it's about luck when you don't study? No, it's all about study. It's all about like, yo, you need to pay attention. If you want this, you have to pay attention to it. Like
So
my
I
first,
you say there's no element of luck at all. Is that what you're
there
trying to say?
is, but not like 100%. I can say like maybe like 10% luck. The remaining 90%, it's you have to be focused, know about this. Yeah, okay, so you need to, it's like a strategy, the way I say it, and you need to follow the rules. If once you know the strategy, boom.
Can I chip in with something? I recall, we have this group. Of course, most of you are part of that group, excluding Ben, or all of you actually. There was a guy who actually put together a team, right, from game week 1 last season and said, look, if you didn't make any changes, no changes at all to this team, the team had Haaland and probably Kane and a few other heavy hitters, then mid-priced assets as well. And that team scored more than I did last season. That team scored well over 2,500 points and would have finished, Barry, I can't recall, probably in the top 10,000 or top 1K, something like that. That's the perfect example of locking out. The person did not have to lift a finger. Or you and I, we have to think about our transfers, plan them from week to week, and basically executed on them and hoped that our decisions, would be borne out by the outcome at the end of the game week. So luck does play a big part, to be honest. And like I said earlier on, I think it's somewhere in the region of 70%. It's not exact science, right? Everyone will have their own gut feel as to what that percentage is. But I'm no longer a casual player. Otherwise, I would have been willing to do exactly what that guy did this season, just to see.
Me too. I'd much prefer that. I'd much just choose a team, leave it, sit back and check it every so often, without the nonsense of having to check double game week, change this guy. Oh, this captain's not playing. Oh, he's injured. Yeah. It's a headache. It's an absolute headache. Sometimes like a full-time job. You don't have time.
I've seen someone start a player that there's actually a bencher, and that game he started that player. Which player was that? I think the player scored a brace or a hat trick. That's where the luck comes in. And we are captaining Haaland, and maybe Haaland does not score at all, and someone just starts a bench warmer in the club, and that particular game he scores a hat trick. So for me, I think it's 90% luck or 10% football knowledge. So I don't really like it. Guys.
And somebody in the world captained that bench warmer and they scored a hat-trick. That's what I don't understand. The guy hasn't played. He's played probably, I don't know, half an hour all season, and then you triple captained him. And when he does play, he scores a hat-trick. Because someone in the world does that. There's always somebody in the world that has triple captained that crazy performer who never plays. It's the mind boggles. It's a lot of juice.
And the week I triple captain Haaland, I think Pep did not start him. He put him in 70-something minutes and he gave me 1 point. 3 points for my triple captain. Anyway.
You triple captain Haaland at the wrong time. That's what I'm saying. It's not all about luck. It's about being calculated. Yes. Okay, now just tell me if you want to triple captain Haaland. So you want to tell me you want to triple captain Haaland when Haaland is playing with hard opposition? No, you can't do that.
Okay, for me, I think it's almost 70 or 60% luck. Then 50 or 30% ball knowledge, and just 10% if you look at data and other stuff that can boost your chances of winning. But the luck aspect is, for me, is really high. I'll say 70%. because
Very, very hard.
because you can create a team with big hitters, and someone will just gather differentials and you forget about the team. And at the end of the game week, you are having, let's say, 70 is too much. You're having, let's say, 40 points, and the person with casual players, or in quotes casual players, has like 80 points or 90 points. It's luck. For example, the week that Reece Nelson scored 2 goals from the bench, there were people that captained him, and he scored 2 goals, and maybe Haaland that week didn't score anything. So it's there's huge luck in it. Although you can do your own calculations, do your own permutations, but luck is a huge part of the game for me.
Yeah.